The chamber was massive, stretching upward into darkness that seemed to have no end. Ji-hoon Park stood at the human delegation platform, his hands clasped behind his back as he watched the alien beings around him. Some floated in tanks of purple liquid. Others sat on platforms of pure energy. A few looked almost human, but their eyes held colors that didn't exist on Earth. This was Nexus Prime, the heart of galactic civilization. 47 alien species had gathered here to meet humanity for the first time since Earth achieved faster-than-light travel 3 months ago. Ji-hoon had hoped this day would mark the beginning of friendship between worlds. He was about to learn how wrong he was. A massive reptilian creature rose from the central dais. Its scales gleamed like oil under strange lights, and its eyes were pure black orbs that reflected nothing. This was Vexthur, commander of the Drachner Empire. The Drachner controlled nearly a third of the galaxy, and everyone feared them. Human Vexthur's voice boomed through translators, embedded in every platform. We have reviewed your species. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are crude. Your ships are laughable. Yet you dare to enter our galaxy without permission. Ji-hoon kept his face neutral. We come in peace. Earth wishes to join the galactic community as friends and partners. Laughter erupted throughout the chamber. Not polite chuckles, but genuine mocking laughter that echoed off the walls. Vexthur's massive jaw opened in what might have been a smile. Friends, partners. The Drachner leaned forward. You misunderstand your position, human. The Galactic Council does not accept equals. You will surrender all military vessels. You will submit to Council law. You will provide 40% of your planet's resources as integration fees. You have 48 hours to comply. Ji-hoon felt ice in his stomach, but his voice stayed steady. And if we refuse, then the Drachner fleet will turn your planet into dust. We have done this to 37 species before you. Their names are forgotten. Earth will join them. The chamber fell silent. Every alien I turned to Ji-hoon. Some looked curious. Others looked bored, as if they had seen this scene play out many times before. A few looked almost sorry. Ji-hoon took a deep breath. He thought about Earth, about the billions of people depending on his next words. He thought about his daughter playing in the park, unaware that her entire world hung in the balance. No, Ji-hoon said simply. Vexthur tilted his massive head. What did you say? I said no. Earth will not surrender. We will not become slaves. We will not give you our resources. If you want war, then you will have war. More laughter filled the chamber. But this time it sounded different, uncertain. A small creature with crystalline skin spoke up. Human, do you understand what you are refusing? The Drachner have 2,000 warships. How many does Earth have? 200, Ji-hoon answered honestly. 200 primitive vessels against 2,000 advanced warships, Vexthur said. Your shields cannot stop our plasma weapons. Your kinetic guns cannot penetrate our energy barriers. This is not bravery, human. This is suicide, perhaps, Ji-hoon said. But humans have a saying. We would rather die on our feet than live on our knees. He turned and walked toward the exit. Behind him, Vexthur roared, 48 hours, human. Then your species dies. The journey back to Earth took 6 hours through the quantum gates. Ji-hoon spent every minute in the communications room, talking with Earth's leadership. President Juwon's song appeared on the screen, her face grave. They're really going to attack? She asked. Yes, Madam President. The Drachner fleet is already moving. They'll reach our solar system in 2 days. Guan closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were hard as steel. Then we activate Protocol Nemesis. Get everyone ready. Protocol Nemesis was Earth's secret weapon, developed over the last 5 years by the Quantum Warfare Research Institute. Only a handful of people knew it existed. Ji-hoon had read the reports, and they terrified him. But terror was better than extinction. When Ji-hoon's ship reached Earth's orbit, he could see the changes already beginning. Every military base on the planet had gone to full alert. Civilian ships were being recalled from the asteroid belt. The moon base was evacuating non-essential personnel. He found Admiral Suman Choi in the command center. Beneath the Pacific Ocean, the Admiral was studying. Holographic displays showing the Drachner fleet's approach. 2,000 red dots move through space toward Earth's solar system. Can we win? Ji-hoon asked quietly. Su-min didn't look away from the display. Win. No. Survive. Maybe make them regret attacking us? Absolutely. What's the plan? You'll see. Minho has been working on this for years. Us. Su-min gestured to a thin man standing in the shadows. Minho Kong stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with an intensity that made Ji-hoon uncomfortable. We can't match their technology, Minho said, so we won't try. Humans have always excelled at one thing, finding creative ways to kill each other. We're about to teach the galaxy what that means. Across the solar system, Earth's 200 ships formed a defensive line. They were small compared to the Drachner vessels, built for speed rather than power. Each ship carried a crew of 50, men and women who knew they were probably flying to their deaths. Captain Yuna Ali commanded the science vessel Horizon from a hidden facility on the moon. She wasn't a warrior, but she was the architect of humanity's response. For 5 years, she had studied one question. How do you fight enemies with better weapons, better shields, and better ships? The answer was simple. You cheat. Her team had developed weapons the Galactic Council thought were impossible. Quantum entanglement bombs that could detonate inside enemy ships, bypassing shields entirely. Relativistic kinetic projectiles so small and fast that sensors couldn't track them. Biological agents designed to attack specific alien neural structures. But the real secret was humanity's doctrine. Every human child learned about the great wars of Earth's history. They studied tactics from ancient times to the nuclear age. They understood that warfare wasn't about having the best weapons. It was about using what you had in ways your enemy never expected. The Drachner were about to receive an education. As the enemy fleet crossed the orbit of Neptune, Earth sent one final message. It wasn't a plea for mercy or a desperate negotiation. It was a warning broadcast on all frequencies. To the Drachner Empire and the Galactic Council, you have mistaken our desire for peace as weakness. You believe our primitive technology makes us helpless. You think we will surrender or die quietly. You are wrong. Humanity has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of war. We have fought through ice ages, plagues, and nuclear fire. We have turned our entire planet into a weapon when needed. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. You're about to find out. We are Earth, and we do not kneel. Vexter received the message aboard his flagship Devastator. He laughed and deleted it. Primitive species always made brave speeches before they died. In a few hours, Earth would be silent forever. He had no idea that humanity's greatest strength wasn't their weapons or their ships. It was their absolute refusal to accept defeat, no matter the odds. The Drachner had conquered 37 species, but they had never met humans before. The countdown to war reached. 0. Commander Thelzer of the Drachner Empire sat in his command throne aboard the Devastator, watching Earth grow larger on his screens. The blue planet looked peaceful, almost beautiful. In a few hours, it would be a burning wasteland. Status report, Thelzer commanded, his tactical officer. A younger Drachner with green-tinted scales consulted his displays. 2,000 ships in formation. Energy shields at maximum. Plasma cannons charged. The human fleet is ahead, exactly where we expected. Only 197 ships. They've already lost 3. Lost them how? Thelzer asked. Unknown. They simply stopped transmitting. Probably mechanical failures. Human technology is primitive, Thelzer nodded. The humans had formed a defensive line between Mars and Earth. Their tiny ships looked like insects compared to the Drachner warships. Each Drachner vessel was 3 times larger. Shields that could withstand nuclear weapons and cannons that could melt through solid metal. Open a channel, Thelzer ordered. Let me speak to them one final time. The communication channel activated. A human female appeared on the screen. She wore a military uniform with 5 stars on her shoulder. Admiral Su-min Choi, according to the intelligence reports. This is Commander Thelzer of the Drachner Empire. This is your final chance to surrender. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded. We will be merciful if you comply now. Sumin looked at him for a long moment. Then she smiled. It wasn't a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. No, she said simply. Then you choose death. May your species be forgotten quickly. Thelzer cut the channel. All ships, open fire. 2,000 plasma cannons fired at once. The void of space lit up with blue and green energy beams. They crossed the distance in seconds, slamming into the Who. Man defensive line. 50 human ships exploded immediately. Then 20 more. The primitive human shields couldn't stop Drachner weapons. Metal hulls melted. Reactors went critical. Men and women died by the thousands in the first 10 seconds of combat. Pathetic, Thelzer muttered. Tactical time until complete destruction of human fleet? At this rate, 3 minutes, Commander. But something was wrong. The surviving human ships weren't retreating. Instead, they accelerated forward, directly at the Drachner fleet. Their engines burned at maximum power, pushing them to speeds that should have torn the ships apart. What are they doing? Thelzer demanded. Are they attempting kamikaze attacks? Unknown, Commander. Their trajectory suggests... Wait. Sensors are detecting massive deployments from the human ships. Thousands of small objects. Missiles. Negative. The objects are too small and moving too fast. They're not registering on standard sensors. They're cold, no heat signatures, no active propulsion. The first objects hit the Devastator shields at 30% of light speed. The shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, did nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. Physics didn't care about alien technology. Kinetic energy was absolute. The tungsten rods. Each one, only a meter long but moving at impossible speeds, punched through the shields as if they weren't there. They hit armor plating and went through it like paper. One rod entered the Devastator's port side and exited the starboard side, passing through 17 decks and killing 100 Drachner in its path. More rods hit. Then thousands of smaller projectiles, simple ball bearings, accelerated to tremendous speeds. The Drachner shields stopped exactly none of them. Hull breaches on all decks. The tactical officer's voice rose in panic. We're venting atmosphere. Shields are useless. Around the Devastator, the Drachner fleet was experiencing the same nightmare. Ships designed to fight energy weapon battles were being shredded by metal moving very, very fast. 300 ships suffered critical damage in the first 30 seconds. But the humans weren't done. From the moon, Unilee watched her screens and whispered, Phase 2. Activate. Quantum entanglement was a principle the Galactic Council understood. They used it for communication across vast distances, but they had long ago concluded it was impossible to weaponize. The energy requirements were too high. The mathematics didn't allow for explosive reactions. Una had spent 5 years proving them. It's wrong. Inside 300 Drachner ships, quantum entangled particles suddenly received a signal from their paired particles on Earth. The signal triggered a cascade reaction in the ship's own power cores. The explosions came from within, where no shield could stop them. The Devastator's sister ship, the Annihilator, simply exploded. 1 second it was there, the next it was an expanding ball of plasma and debris. 200 more ships followed. Some broke in half. Others were consumed by their own reactor meltdowns. Thelzer watched his fleet die and couldn't understand what was happening. This is impossible. Their technology can't do this. Commander, we've lost 800 ships. 890 seconds. All ships, retreat. Full speed retreat. But the human ships weren't allowing retreat. They moved with a precision that spoke of decades of training, cutting off escape routes, herding the Drachner fleet like prey. More kinetic rounds fired. More ships died. In the command center beneath the Pacific Ocean, Minho Kong watched the battle unfold. He had designed this strategy based on a simple principle. The Galactic Council had fought the same way for thousands of years. Energy weapons, energy shields, close-range plasma combat. They had forgotten the oldest form of warfare. Rocks thrown very, very hard. Human fleet status. Minho asked. 112 ships remaining. They're holding formation. Drakner fleet? 1,100 ships left. They're attempting to regroup, but they're panicking. This is going better than projected. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council watched the battle through long-range sensors. The chamber was silent. No one was laughing now. A crystalline being spoke quietly. They're winning. The humans are actually winning, Dexter roared from his platform. Impossible. Send reinforcements. Send everything. But Shirvan of the Luminae, a species that valued knowledge above all, shook her head. Look at their tactics. They're not using advanced technology. They're using physics. Simple, brutal physics combined with strategic brilliance. They let us think we were superior, and we walked into a trap.
Back at Earth, Selzer was dying.
The Devastator had taken 47 direct hits. Half his crew was dead. Life support was failing. He managed to send one final transmission to the Council. They don't fight like civilized species. They don't follow any rules of warfare we understand. They're demons. There, the transmission cut off as another tungsten rod pierced the command deck. Admiral? Suman broadcast from her flagship. Her ship had taken damage and blood ran down the side of her face, but she was smiling. Attention, Drakner fleet. This is Admiral Suman Choi of the Earth Defense Force. You came to our home and demanded we surrender. You threatened to kill us all. You laughed at our primitive technology. Here's something you should know about humans. We've been killing each other for 10,000 years. We've perfected the art of war through ice ages, plagues, and nuclear fire. We know 3,000 ways to destroy an enemy. And we've only shown you 2 of them today. She paused. Letting that sink in, you expected us to fight your way. With energy weapons and shields and honorable combat, we're not honorable. We're survivors. We use whatever works. Today, it was kinetic weapons and quantum bombs. Tomorrow, it will be something else you've never imagined. You wanted to see what humans are capable of. Congratulations, you're learning. The Drakner fleet broke. The remaining ships abandoned formation and fled. Jumping to faster than light speed as quickly as their damaged engines could manage. Of the 2,000 ships that attacked Earth, only 300 escaped. In the command center, Ji-hoon Park stood next to Minho and watched the enemy retreat. He should have felt victorious. Instead, he felt sick. We just killed hundreds of thousands of them, Ji-hoon said quietly. Minho didn't look away from his screens. They came to kill billions of us. This is what survival looks like. Yuna appeared on the communication screen from the moon. Her face was pale, her eyes haunted. The quantum bombs work too well. I designed a weapon that ignores all defenses. What have I created? Suman's voice came through the speakers. You created survival, Yuna. All of you did. The galaxy thought we were weak. They know better now. Across the galaxy, news of the battle spread at light speed. For the first time in 3,000 years, a species had defeated a Galactic Council fleet. Humanity, the primitive newcomers with their laughable kinetic weapons, destroyed the mighty Drakner. On Nexus Prime, Vexter smashed his platform in rage. This isn't over. I will see Earth burn. But other species were already questioning that decision. Shirvan studied the battle recordings with growing concern. The humans hadn't just won. They had dominated. And according to her analysis, they had only used a fraction of their capabilities. What else were the humans hiding? The emergency council session began 3 hours after the Drakner retreat. Every species sent their representatives to Nexus Prime, and fear hung in the air like smoke. For 3,000 years, the Galactic Council had been untouchable. Now, a primitive species had shattered that illusion in less than 2 hours of combat. Vexter stood at the center platform, his scales dark with rage. His fleet had been humiliated. His people demanded revenge. But more than that, his pride demanded it. The council must respond with overwhelming force, Vexter declared. We must deploy the full Council Armada. Every species must contribute ships. We will gather 50,000 vessels and turn Earth into dust. We will make an example that will echo for millennia. Several species voiced agreement. The Council's power came from fear, and right now, that fear was crumbling. If Earth could defeat them, what would stop others from trying? But Shiravan of the Luminae raised her crystalline hand for silence. Her species had existed for 8,000 years, and they valued knowledge above conquest. Before we commit to total war, perhaps we should understand what we're fighting, Shirvan said. Her voice was soft, but it carried authority. I have studied the humans since their first contact. What I found disturbs me. She activated a holographic display that showed Earth's history. Images flashed through the chamber. Ancient wars with swords and spears. Industrial wars with guns and tanks. Nuclear explosions. Chemical weapons. Biological plagues. In the last 200 years alone, humans fought 2 wars that killed over 100 million of their own kind. They discovered atomic energy and weaponized it within 40 years. They have documented records of 243 major conflicts on their planet. They named their weapons Peacekeeper and Liberator while using them to kill each other. The chamber fell silent as the images continued. Humans were brutal to themselves in ways that shocked most species. But what truly terrified them was the next statistic Shiravan showed. They survived. Every war, every plague, every disaster that should have destroyed them, they survived. And each time, they became stronger, more dangerous, more creative in how they kill. A small amphibious being spoke up nervously. But surely our technology is still superior? The kinetic weapons they used were primitive. Primitive but effective, Shiravan countered. They understood something we forgot. Physics doesn't care about technology. A piece of metal moving at 30% of light speed carries more energy than most of our plasma weapons. And our shields, designed for energy weapons, were useless. Vexter slammed his clawed hand on his platform. You speak as if we should fear them. They have 200 ships. We can field 50,000. And how many will you sacrifice? Shiravan asked. The Drakner sent 2,000 and lost 1,700. If that ratio holds, we would lose 40,000 ships to destroy Earth. Can the Council survive that loss? While the Council argued, Earth was preparing for the next wave. In the command center, President Zhuan Song met with her military leaders. The victory had bought them time, but everyone knew the Council would return. What's our status? Giwan asked. Admiral Sumain consulted her displays. We have 112 ships remaining in fighting condition. Another 30 are being repaired. We're producing new ships as fast as possible, but it will take months to rebuild our fleet. The Council won't give us months, Minho Kong said. He stood in his usual corner, his face thoughtful. They'll gather their forces and return with overwhelming numbers. Ji-hoon Park, who had returned from Nexus Prime, spoke up. We need to consider negotiation. We proved we can defend ourselves. Maybe now they'll talk as equals. Maybe they'll be even more determined to destroy us, Yunali said from her seat. The young scientist looked exhausted. She hadn't slept since the battle ended. We humiliated them. Species built on dominance don't forgive that. Giwan looked at each of them. Minho, you're our strategic director. What do you recommend? Minho stood and walked to the holographic display of the galaxy. He zoomed in on 12 different star systems, each one marked in red. 15 years ago, before we made first contact, Earth sent out sleeper ships. Small vessels with crews in stasis, carrying experimental technology and agents trained in espionage. We sent them based on probability projections of where major civilizations might exist. Ji-hoon stood up quickly. What? We sent spy ships before we even knew aliens existed. Insurance, Minho said simply. Humans have always planned for worst-case scenarios. Those ships have been in position for years now, observing and learning. And 3 months ago, when we made first contact, I activated them. He pressed a button, and the red markers began to pulse. These are the 12 most important worlds in the Galactic Council. Core industrial planets, major military bases, and species homeworlds. Our agents have positioned quantum entangled devices on each one, not weapons. Just markers? Markers for what? Su-Min asked. Minho smiled, but there was no humor in it. For anything we want them to be. I've begun spreading information through council, intelligence networks, rumors, hints, suggestions that Earth has deployed self-replicating nanophage weapons on their worlds. Weapons programmed to activate if Earth's biosphere is destroyed. The room went silent. Yuna spoke first, her voice shocked. That's a bluff. We don't have that technology. I couldn't create something like that even if I wanted to. They don't know that, Minho replied, and they can't risk finding out. If Earth falls, those 12 worlds might fall too. Would you attack us if it meant your homeworld might dissolve into gray dust? Ji-hoon walked up to Minho, his face angry. This is psychological warfare. This is terrorism. This is survival, Minho shot back. They threatened to exterminate us. I'm making them think twice about it. Would you prefer we wait for them to gather 50,000 ships and actually do it? Gi-won held up her hand. Enough. Minho, continue with your operation. Ji-hoon, I need you to prepare a message to the council. Make sure they understand the stakes, Madam President, Ji-hoon began, but Ji-won cut him off. I don't like this either. I wanted peaceful first contact. I wanted to join the galaxy as friends. But they chose war. Now we have to make sure they choose peace, even if we have to terrify them into it. The message went out on all council frequencies 2 hours later. Ji-hoon delivered it personally, his face appearing on screens across the galaxy. To the Galactic Council, we did not seek this war. We came in peace and were met with demands for surrender. We defended ourselves and won. Now you debate whether to send more ships, more weapons, more death. Before you do, understand this. You know where we live. You know where Earth is, but you don't know where we've been for the last 15 years. The display behind Ji-hoon showed the 12 red markers on the galactic map. These are your core worlds, your most important planets, your homes. We have assets positioned on each one. If you destroy Earth, if you kill our people, those assets will activate. We are a species that split the atom and used it as a weapon within a human lifetime. We created plagues that could kill millions. We built weapons that could end our own world 3 times over. What makes you think we came to the galaxy unprepared? Ji-hoon let that sink in before continuing. We're not bluffing. We're survivors. And survivors always have a backup plan. You can test us if you want. Burn Earth. See what happens to your 12 most populated worlds afterward. Or you can accept that we are not prey. We are not slaves. We are equals. The choice is yours. On Nexus Prime, panic erupted. Species representatives demanded to know if their worlds were among the 12. Intelligence agencies scrambled to find the human agents. Military forces went on high alert. Vexler watched the message and roared in fury. This is a bluff. They're primitive. They couldn't have deployed such weapons. But Shiravan was already running calculations. The mathematics work. A self-replicating nanophage could theoretically exist. And humans have a history of creating horrifying weapons. Can we afford to assume they're lying? 3 species immediately declared they were withdrawing from any military action against Earth. Their homeworlds were among the 12 marked systems. 5 others demanded the Council focus on negotiation instead of war. Vexler's support was crumbling. But he wasn't done yet. He began meeting in secret with other aggressive species, planning something that would bypass the Council's debate entirely. On Earth, Yuna found Minho in his office late at night. I ran the numbers. Even if we wanted to create the nanophage weapons you described, we couldn't. The energy requirements alone are impossible with our current technology. I know, Minho said quietly, so it's entirely a bluff. If they call it, if they actually attack Earth, 12 innocent worlds will be perfectly safe, and we'll all die. Then we better hope they don't call it. Yuna sat down, her hands shaking. We're betting the survival of our entire species on a lie. Minho finally looked at her. We're betting on the one thing humans have always been good at, making our enemies too afraid to test us. Sometimes the threat of a weapon is more powerful than the weapon itself. Deep in space, the Nexer Collective received orders from the Council. The hive mind species was feared across the galaxy for good reason. Their bioships could regenerate from damage. They could adapt to new weapons mid-battle. They had never lost a war. 5,000 Nexer. Bioships began the 3-week journey to Earth. The Queen Mind calculated, even if the humans used their kinetic weapons and quantum bombs, the Nexer would overwhelm them through sheer numbers and adaptability. But the Queen Mind had never fought humans before. She was about to learn that humans specialized in fighting things that should be unbeatable. Day 7 of the Nexer approach. The bioships moved through space like a living tide, their organic hulls pulsing with alien life. Earth's long-range sensors tracked every one of them. 5,000 ships, each one capable of regenerating from nearly any damage in the Command CE. At her, the mood was different than before the Drachner battle. That fight had been desperate but quick. This would be slower, grinding. The Nexer didn't rush. They calculated, adapted, and consumed. Ji-hoon Park stood next to President Ji-won Song watching the holographic display. Can we win this time? No, Ji-won said simply. Minho says our kinetic weapons will work once, maybe twice. Then the Nexer will adapt. Their bioships will literally evolve new armor mid-battle. The quantum bombs might not work at all on organic matter. Then why aren't we evacuating? Evacuating where? Earth is our home. If we run, they'll just hunt us down. The only way humans survive is if we make this war so terrible that the Council gives up. Across the planet, a strange thing was happening. Instead of panic, there was cold determination. Every factory ran 24 hours a day. Every human over 16 trained in basic combat. Children were taught how to use weapons. Cities prepared for guerrilla warfare if the Nexer landed on Earth. They would find a population ready to fight street by street, house by house. The message was clear. Earth would not surrender. Even if it meant everyone died fighting, Minho Kang called an emergency meeting of the War Council on day 14. He looked tired but excited, which worried Ji-hoon. Minho was never excited about good things. I have a proposal, Minho began, but you're all going to hate it. Admiral Sumen raised an eyebrow. More than threatening to destroy 12 innocent worlds with weapons we don't have? Much more? Minho activated a new set of displays. The sleeper agents I mentioned? Their devices aren't just markers. I lied about that. Yuna Lee stood up. What do you mean, you lied? The devices can transmit a quantum signal to Earth, and Earth can send a signal back. A very specific signal that would theoretically trigger a catastrophic reaction in certain types of matter. Theoretically, Ji-hoon repeated, meaning you don't know if it works. Meaning we tested it on a small scale, and it definitely works. Yuna's demonstration on Jupiter's moon wasn't entirely fake. We have the ability to trigger a self-replicating cascade. Not a nanophage exactly, but close enough. The room fell silent. Yuna spoke quietly, her voice shaking. You're saying we actually do have weapons on those 12 worlds? Weapons that could kill billions? Yes and no. The devices themselves are harmless. They can't do anything unless we send the activation signal from Earth. And we won't send that signal unless Earth is destroyed first. Ji-won sat down heavily. So if the Nexer burn Earth, the devices automatically activate? Not automatically. But the agents have orders to activate them if Earth falls. It's a dead man's switch on a galactic scale. Ji-hoon walked up to Minho, fury in his eyes. You've turned us into exactly what they think we are. Monsters willing to commit genocide? I've ensured our survival, Minho countered. The Council needs to believe we'll take them down with us. Otherwise, they'll keep coming until we're extinct. Yuna was crying now. I built the weapon. I created the demonstration. But I didn't know you would actually deploy it. Minho, those 12 worlds have children, families, innocent people who've done nothing wrong. And Earth has 8 billion innocent people, Minho said quietly. Including your daughter Yuna. Including all our families. I made a choice. Protect us or protect them. I chose us. Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the command center. A junior officer called out. The Nexer fleet has entered communication range. They're broadcasting. The main screen lit up with an image unlike anything they had seen before. The Nexer Queen Mind appeared as a massive biological structure, neither entirely solid nor entirely energy. She spoke through translation, but her voice resonated on frequencies that hurt human ears. Humanity. We are the Nexer Collective. We have analyzed your previous battle. Your kinetic weapons are impressive. Your quantum bombs are clever. Neither will save you. Admiral Sumin stepped forward. Then why are you talking instead of attacking? We are efficient. We calculate probabilities. There is a 93% chance we will destroy your fleet and conquer your planet. But there is a 17% chance you will destroy enough of our ships to make the conquest costly. We offer you a choice. What choice? Surrender now. We will integrate your species into the collective. You will lose your individuality, but gain immortality as part of a greater whole. Or fight, and we will kill every human we find. These are your only options. Sumin looked at Giwan, who nodded. Sumin turned back to the Queen Mind. We have a counteroffer. Turn around and leave. Because if you attack Earth, 12 of the Council's core worlds will cease to exist. We have calculated this threat. Probabilities suggest you are bluffing. Minho stepped forward. Are you willing to bet 5 billion Nexer lives on that probability? The Queen Mind paused. For a hive mind that thought in pure mathematics, this was the kind of calculation that required time. Finally, she spoke again. Show us proof. Demonstrate your weapon on one unpopulated world. If you can do this, we will withdraw. No, Minho said flatly. You'll see our weapon when you attack Earth. Or you'll never see it because you'll choose to leave. Those are your only options. The screen went dark. The Nexer fleet continued its approach, but slowed slightly. The Queen Mind was calculating, running scenarios, trying to determine if humans were capable of what they claimed. On Nexus Prime, Exther watched the exchange with savage satisfaction. The Nexer will test them. When the humans fail to destroy those worlds, everyone will know they're bluffing. Then we can proceed with total extermination without restraint. But Shiravan wasn't so sure. She pulled up Earth's history again and focused on one particular period. The Cold War. 2 human nations with nuclear weapons. Each threatening to destroy the other, neither willing to attack first, because it would mean mutual destruction. They've done this before, she whispered. They've built their entire defensive strategy around making the cost of victory too high. What if they're not bluffing? Day 21 arrived. The Nexer bioships reached Earth's solar system and stopped at the orbit of Mars. The Queen Mind opened communications one final time. We have calculated all scenarios. The risk is acceptable. We will attack in 1 hour. Prepare for integration or extermination. In the command center, Yuna was working frantically. She had prepared one final weapon, something so risky that she hadn't told anyone about it until now. I can generate a localized spatial disruption, she explained quickly. It will create a temporary wormhole that can redirect energy or matter. But I can only do it once, and I can't control where the other end opens. What would you use it for? Guan asked. If the Nexer have any super weapons, anything designed to destroy planets in one shot, I can redirect it back at them. But it's dangerous. The wormhole could collapse and take Earth with it. Do it anyway, Jiwan ordered. We are out of safe options. The hour counted down. Human ships formed their defensive line, but everyone knew it wouldn't matter. The Nexer had analyzed their tactics. They were ready for kinetic weapons, quantum bombs. Everything Earth had shown so far at 30 minutes remaining. Minho made a broadcast to the entire Nexer fleet, the Galactic Council. In every monitoring station in range, this is Director Minho Kang of Earth's Strategic Command. To the Nexer Collective, you believe you have calculated all possibilities. You haven't. Humans don't think like you. We don't operate on pure logic. We operate on will. and our will to survive is absolute. He brought up the map of the 12 marked worlds. These worlds are held hostage not by weapons, but by your own fear. You could call our bluff. You could attack us and see if we're telling the truth. But you won't know until it's too late. That's the genius of the strategy. Even if we're lying, you can't afford to find out. The Queen Mind responded immediately. Your psychological warfare is noted. It changes nothing. Attack commences in 20 minutes. But something had changed. 3 of the 12 species whose worlds were marked had sent emergency messages to the Nexer. They begged the hive mind to reconsider. They offered to pay the Nexer to withdraw. They pleaded for their populations. The Queen Mind recalculated. The probability of human weapons existing had risen from 12% to 38%, based solely on the fear of other species. If other advanced civilizations believed the threat was real, perhaps it was. At 10 minutes remaining, the Nexer fleet began powering weapons. Biocannons emerged from organic holes. The ships moved into attack formation. Then Eunice sensors detected something that made her blood run cold. They're charging a planet killer. It's a weapon that channels the energy of a star into a single beam. One shot will burn Earth's atmosphere away. Can you redirect it? Giwan asked. If they fire it, I can try. But Madam President, if this fails, everyone dies. If we do nothing, everyone dies anyway. Take the shot. The Nexer planet killer charged to full power. The Queen Mind had made her decision. Earth would burn. And then they would discover the truth about the 12 worlds. The weapon fired. The beam of concentrated stellar energy crossed the void between the Nexer fleet and Earth. It was beautiful in a terrible way, pure destruction moving at the speed of light. Every sensor on Earth detected it. Every human knew they had seconds to live. Unilee's hands flew across her controls. The spatial disruption generator activated, pulling power from every reactor on the moon. Reality bent. Space folded in on itself. The beam hit the edge of the wormhole and disappeared. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. The command center held its breath. Then reality reasserted itself. The wormhole's exit point opened directly in front of the Nexer flagship. The planet killer beam emerged and struck the bioship at full power. The Nexer flagship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist. One moment it was there. The next moment there was only plasma and debris. The beam continued through the formation, destroying 12 more bioships before its energy dissipated. The Queen Mind's voice, broadcast from a secondary vessel, held something new. Not fear exactly, but uncertainty. You redirected stellar-level energy through a controlled spatial anomaly. This technology was thought impossible. Admiral Suman's voice was steady. You've calculated probabilities. Here's a new calculation. Every time you attack us, we show you something else you thought was impossible. How many impossible things do you think we're hiding? On Nexus Prime, the Council watched in stunned silence. A junior species had just demonstrated technology that the Council's best scientists said couldn't exist, and they had used it to destroy 13 Nexer bioships with the Nexer's own weapon. Shervan spoke into the silence. They're not just surviving. They're innovating under pressure. Every battle teaches them. Every attack makes them more dangerous. This is how humans work. They thrive on adversity. But across the galaxy, Vexther was making his own calculations. The Drachner commander had grown tired of council debates and half-measures. He had assembled a secret coalition of the most aggressive species. Together, they had acquired an ancient weapon that the council had banned 3,000 years ago. A reality phase bomb. One device that could shift Earth out of normal space-time, trapping the entire planet in a pocket dimension where it would slowly decay into nothing. No shields could stop it. No spatial anomalies could redirect it. And it was already in transit. Hidden in a civilian transport ship heading toward Earth, the Nexer Queen Mind made her decision. We withdraw. The risk-reward calculation no longer favors attack. Earth has proven too costly an opponent. The bioships began retreating, organic holes regenerating the damage they had taken. In the command center, cheers erupted. They had won. Humanity had survived again, But Minho wasn't celebrating. He was staring at his intelligence feeds with growing alarm. Something's wrong. The Nexer withdrawal is too convenient. Why would they give up after losing only 13 ships? Because we scared them, Suman suggested. No, the Queen Mind doesn't think like that. She would have kept fighting until the math said she couldn't win. 13 ships out of 5,000 isn't enough losses. Minho pulled up Council communications. Someone else is making a move. Someone who wants the Nexer out of the way. Ji-hoon Park received an encrypted message on his personal communicator. The sender was anonymous, but the encryption key was Lumine. He opened it, and his face went pale. Vexter has launched a planet killer device. It's hidden on a civilian transport. It will reach Earth in 6 hours. Can we intercept it? Giwan demanded. Not in time. The transport is using a Council diplomatic code. Our ships won't even scan it until it's too late. The spatial disruption generator is burned out. It will take weeks to rebuild. I can't redirect this one. Minho walked to the center of the room. Then we end this. Now, we stop playing defense and show the Council what happens when you truly threaten humanity. He activated a galaxy-wide broadcast. His face appeared on screens across Nexus Prime, on Council warships, and in the homes of billions of aliens. This is Director Minho Kang of Earth. 6 hours ago, the Drekner Empire launched a planet killer weapon at Earth. They did this in secret, without Council approval, hoping to exterminate us before anyone could stop them. This is a violation of every Council law. But more importantly, it's a declaration that the Council itself cannot be trusted. He paused, letting that sink in. Around the galaxy, species representatives began checking their intelligence feeds. The information was there, hidden but findable. Vexter had acted alone. Earth's sleeper agents have been in position for years. You all know about the 12 marked worlds. What you don't know is that 3 months ago, we positioned agents at the Citadel, the Council's central military coordination station. We've been inside your most secure facility for months, learning your systems, mapping your defenses. On Nexus Prime, alarms began screaming. Counselors rushed to their security feeds. At the Citadel, human agents had emerged from hiding and were moving through the station with surgical precision. Minho continued. We've just taken control of your military hub. Your defense systems now answer to us. Your weapons are pointed at your own ships. And we have 400 ships emerging from quantum jump drives at the Citadel's location right now. Space around the Citadel filled with human vessels. Earth had been building ships in secret, using captured Council technology to create jump drives that could cross the galaxy in seconds. The ships appeared in perfect formation, demonstrating a level of precision that shocked every military analyst watching. Admiral Sumain broadcast from her flagship, "To every species in the Council, your military center is in our hands. We can destroy it. We can turn your own weapons against you. We have quantum jump technology that puts us anywhere in the galaxy in minutes. We have weapons you've never seen. We have been preparing for this moment since before first contact. But we don't want destruction. We never wanted war. Here are Earth's terms: immediate ceasefire, recognition of Earth as a sovereign equal, reparations for the invasion attempts. And Vexter stands trial for war crimes." Vexter's voice roared across the communication channels. "Never. I activated the planet killer. Earth dies in 4 hours. The Council will thank me for eliminating this threat." Yuna was working frantically at her station. "I've located the transport. It's approaching Earth's orbital defenses. But I can't shut down the bomb remotely." "You don't have to," Minho said calmly. He activated another control. The spatial anomaly generator wasn't the only weapon we developed. On screen, the transport carrying the planet killer suddenly vanished. Not destroyed, but relocated. It reappeared 30,000 kilometers from the Drakner homeworld. "We reverse-engineered your quantum jump technology," Minho explained to the galaxy, "but we improved it. We can now jump objects without them needing jump drives. Ships, weapons, even bombs that are meant to kill us." Dexter's voice became panicked. No, deactivate it. My world has 4 billion Drekner." Ji-hoon Park stepped forward. His voice was heavy, but firm. 40 seconds until detonation. If that bomb goes off, your homeworld disappears from reality. Every Drachner on it will die. You have 40 seconds to surrender and face trial. Or you can let pride kill your entire species. The galaxy watched. 4 billion lives hung in the balance. Vexthor had launched the weapon intending to kill 8 billion humans. Now his own people would die unless he surrendered. 30 seconds, Ji-hoon said. On Nexus Prime, counselors from every species were screaming at Vexthor to surrender. The Drachner's own people sent desperate transmissions, begging their leader to save them. 20 seconds. Vexthor's voice broke. I surrender. I surrender. Please, deactivate the weapon. Ji-hoon looked at Minho, who nodded. The bomb has been deactivated. We'll relocate it to deep space where it can't harm anyone. Vexthor, you will be taken into custody for trial. The Drachner people are safe. The galaxy released a collective breath. Humanity had held the power to commit genocide and chose mercy instead. Shiravan spoke into the silence. The Council calls for an emergency vote. Proposal: immediate ceasefire with Earth. Recognition of humanity as a sovereign equal. Formation of a new council structure that treats all species as equals rather than subjects. All in favor? 39 species voted in favor. 8 voted against. The motion passed. 1 year later, the reformed Galactic Assembly held its first session. The old council structure had been dissolved. 48 species, including Earth, now met as equals. Ji-hoon Park sat in the assembly chamber, this time not as a supplicant but as Earth's first Secretary of Interstellar Relations. Around him sat representatives from species that had once threatened to exterminate humanity. Now they were trading partners, allies, even friends. Admiral Sumin had retired, writing a manual on asymmetric warfare that was now taught in military academies across the galaxy. 23 alien species